Hello, dear friends. I wouldn't talk about this topic if I hadn't felt it for years. I consider Darjeeling as my spiritual homeland. Opinion piece: White Brotherhood, Abundant Life, Darjeeling Council, the Invisible Church, the Council of Light, Saint Germain Refuge, the Destiny of Nations, the Great White Lodge, governed by 144 teachers, the Communion of Saints, another one in Alpujarra. Abundance for Humankind. Testimony of Giovanni Papini. Masters of Ancient Wisdom. Let's start. I felt a very positive energy when I spent a few days in Darjeeling and Sikkim north of Calcutta, the mecca of the tastiest and most aromatic tea in the world, and a toy train that whistles a lot but runs very slowly. But I didn't know the cause. Now I understand it. I visited the boy lama in Darjeeling that Kalo Rinpoche had been reincarnated as at Sonada Monastery, but he later reported abuse himself. The White Brotherhood of Darjeeling is a spiritual organization that is part of the Great White Brotherhood, a celestial order of ascended masters working to inspire creative advancements in education, arts, sciences, divine government, and abundant life in the nations. The primary function of this brotherhood is to return the consciousness of humankind to the freedom of unity through the dissemination of an understanding of the cosmos, the infallible laws that govern cycles and destiny of the human microcosm, and the divine macrocosm, a true home of light. According to the Brotherhood, the concept of abundant life is based on flowing with the universe, letting go of what limits, cultivating gratitude, releasing limiting beliefs and memories to allow the new to flow, and connecting with innate spiritual abundance. It also teaches that divine abundance exists in every universe and galaxy, being the greatest treasure of the light of love. They consider that the life purpose of every human being is to remember who we are as spiritual beings and move towards ascension. The 144 members who form the core of the Darjeeling Council have contacts with many souls of Earth. Prior to their ascension, these angelic beings had personal contact, sustained over the centuries with individuals who are still incarnate, many of whom are now prepared to assume responsibility for the destiny of the nations of Earth. The Council of the Great White Brotherhood, composed of ascended masters and non-ascended disciples, is headed by Al Moria, its chief. Its headquarters are in Darjeeling, India, in the etheric retreat of the Master. Among its members are Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Archangel Michael, Serapis Bey, Kutumi, Dual Kul, the Great Divine Director, and many others whose goal is to prepare souls to serve the world and the economy in divine rule for international relations and to establish the internal Christ as the foundation of spirituality, education, and the return of the culture of music and the arts that existed in the Golden Ages. Ascended Masters. There is a lot of talk about ascended masters as beings who have completed their cycle of reincarnations and now help humankind from higher planes of existence. They are perfected beings of great power who spread spiritual teachings through selected human beings. Members of the Brotherhood may be known as teachers of ancient wisdom, ascended masters, the invisible church, or simply as the spiritual hierarchy. The first person to speak about them in the West was Elena Petrovna Blavatsky, after she and others claimed to have received messages from them. Among them were Elena Roerich, or Helen Roerich, Alice Bailey, Guy Ballard, Geraldine Innocente, Elizabeth Clare Prophet, Bob Sanders, and Benjamin Green. Chananda is the head of the Indian Council of the Great White Brotherhood and is working on a priority project with the Darjeeling Council and unprompted initiates. Chananda frequently appears as young woman in parts of India and China, teaching and helping people. Master Moria is also associated with the White Brotherhood of Darjeeling and is known as the commander of the Darjeeling Council. Adama, another ascended master, mentions that the White Brotherhood shrine is located in Darjeeling, near the border with Tibet. The primary function of the Great White Brotherhood is to return the freedom of the One to the consciousness of humankind through the widespread of enlightenment and the law of the One. The idea of a secret organization of enlightened mystics which would guide the spiritual development of the human species was initiated at the end of the 18th century by Karl von Eckarhausen in his book The Cloud Over the Sanctuary. Eckarhausen called this body of mystics the Council of Light, who remained active after their physical deaths on Earth. The Letters of Mahatmas began publication in 1881 with information revealed by Kutumi and Alfred Percy Sinnett, and were also influential in the early development of the tradition. Kutumi revealed that high-ranking members of mystical organizations in India and Tibet were able to maintain regular telepathic contact with each other. Abundance. The White Brotherhood plays an important role in bringing abundance to humankind. It teaches that by recognizing our divinity, affirming perfection, developing spiritual habits, and disciplining the outer self, we can attract abundance into our lives and humankind in general. It teaches that the expression I am is the activity of the divine life to recognize our own divinity. By using expressions like I can't or I am sick, we are denying our perfect nature. Therefore, they urge us to stop accepting less than perfect conditions and instead declare only divine perfection in our lives, because whatever condition we accept will manifest. They also suggest that we develop the habit of metaphysical affirmations and decrees to attract peace, health, prosperity, and well-being. They explain that everyone is constantly called to rise towards the divine self, but few are awake enough to realize the ecstatic joy and perfection of the divine self. They emphasize that only through the activity of very great love and complete discipline of the external self can a sincere student have contact with the ascended masters. Definition. The White Brotherhood is an esoteric concept that refers to an organization of elevated beings considered ascended masters, who spiritually guide humankind. Although its existence and exact nature continue to be debated, its influence on contemporary spiritual thought is indisputable. According to Blavatsky, the White Brotherhood is made up of spiritual advanced beings who have achieved a high degree of enlightenment and work in secret to guide humankind towards a greater spiritual progress. Ascended masters are souls who have reached a higher level of spiritual development and have freed themselves from the cycle of reincarnations. Common examples mentioned are Jesus, Buddha, Saint Germain, and Kuan Yin. They are said to help humankind by providing wisdom and spiritual guidance. Its purpose is to assist humankind in its spiritual evolution and the expansion of consciousness. They promote balance, peace, and harmony in the world, and help individuals find their spiritual path and develop their human potential. Some people believe that they can communicate with ascended masters through channeling, where they receive direct messages from these beings. It is said that masters can also communicate with individuals through dreams and deep meditations. There are also many groups and communities that claim to be in contact with the White Brotherhood or follow their teachings. Many modern spiritual practices and rituals are inspired by teachings attributed to the White Brotherhood. Mysterious encounter. The Italian writer Giovanni Papini recounts his encounter in the 20th century with the enigmatic Count of Saint Germain, guardian of the violet flame, about a ship traveling from Europe to India during the time of the British Empire. Papini wrote a text titled The Meeting with Saint Germain. That is part of his Black Book published in 1951. The Count of Saint Germain is a mystical and mysterious figure in European history, known as an alchemist, philosopher, and adventurer. He is credited with extraordinary powers and unusual longevity. He is a fascinating figure in esoteric literature and popular culture, often described as an immortal or someone with deep secret knowledge. During the trip, which lasted several days, Papini discovered that unique individual since they boarded in Europe. At one point, the Count seemed overwhelmed and much older than he initially knew himself. He told Papini that he was already too tired, and that was why he stayed most of his time in the East, away from Europe and Western men, of whom he was fed up. I'm not surprised. Both characters fell into a prolonged silence and said goodbye by barely shaking hands. Over the next 2 days of travel, Saint Germain even seemed to avoid meeting Papini again. When the ship stopped at Benares, Papini watched the enigmatic Count descend the steamer's ramp, being greeted by two elderly and bearded Brahmins, who probably took him into the White Brotherhood. The Count turned around for just a moment to say goodbye to the writer with a quick gesture on his face, then disappearing into the Indian crowd, guided by his two companions. During the travel, the Count revealed to Papini that his existence spanned enough centuries to personally know Leonardo da Vinci, Shakespeare, Cervantes, and still be alive at the beginning of the 20th century. Papini recalled that on several occasions biographers left Saint Germain for dead, then reappearing in the most distant places. The interaction between Papini and Saint Germain is loaded with symbolism and deep reflections. Papini uses this dialogue to touch on themes about the nature of time, eternity, and knowledge. Through Saint Germain, Papini explores the idea of immortality not only as an extension of physical life, but as a state of being that transcends time. Saint Germain is presented as a guardian of deep and esoteric knowledge, which is only revealed to those who search beyond the surface of reality. Alpujarra. There is also another White Brotherhood as a spiritual community present in the Alpujarra region, in the south of Spain. It appears to have an active presence in the community life of the region, organizing events, courses, and discussion groups for its members. The reputation of the Alpujarra as a spiritual center has attracted many visitors interested in esotericism, meditation, and healing. The region has seen the rise of eco-villages and communities dedicated to living according to spiritual and ecological principles. The White Brotherhood of the Alpujarra is an esoteric and spiritual phenomenon associated with this region in southern Spain, known for its natural beauty and history, which has become a focus of spiritual and mystical activities. It is said that the Alpujarra has a particular energy that facilitates meditation, healing, and spiritual growth. The Alpujarra is located in the provinces of Granada and Almeria, in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada and Sierra de Gador. This region has a rich history that includes the presence of various cultures, from the Iberians to Romans to the Arabs. After the Reconquest, it became the last refuge of the Moors in Spain. It is known for its mountain landscape, white villages, and serene atmosphere, which has made it an attractive place for spiritual seekers. Many seek the Alpujarra as a place of retreat to meditate, reflect, and connect with their inner self. There are groups and communities in the region that organize meetings, workshops, and retreats dedicated to spiritual and esoteric exploration, and rituals and celebrations are held in connection with beliefs of the White Brotherhood, often aligned with astronomical events. The White Brotherhood of the Alpujarra is associated with the idea that this region is a special place for spiritual connection and esoteric practice. As in other traditions, it is believed in the presence of ascended masters and spiritual beings guide and protect the inhabitants and visitors of the Alpujarra. The White Brotherhood of the Alpujarra doesn't have a clear founding date or a formal organizational structure. It is more of a movement or community of people who share an interest in spirituality. They are an international family of people from different countries, races, and beliefs who collaborate on different projects such as the dissemination of information through the internet to help in the development of the consciousness of all beings. Some of their activities include online courses on topics such as crystal therapy, metaphysics, and astrology, which are offered through their website. But in no case do they consider themselves official representatives of the Great White Brotherhood of the high hierarchies of ascended masters, but rather humble collaborators in the great adventure of life. They also do not consider themselves representatives of any group, religion, or beliefs, although they do know many different groups throughout the world, and they like to recommend them so that each human being can choose the one that makes them grow the most, makes him in this case. Powers. According to Saint Germain through Daniel Scranton, you have many powers within you. You are very powerful in the use of your discernment. You can decide, using the power of free will, whether to move towards something or not. And your ability to discern what is right for you and what is not a power. You have the power of what is not right, You have the power of unconditional love. You can choose to be love and light in any given situation and before any person. You have the power to choose what to focus on next. You have the power to choose what you think and how you think about it. You have the power to breathe consciously. You have the power to meditate. You have the power to connect with those you feel comfortable in being in high resonance. You have the power to choose how you want to feel, and you have the power to dive deep into yourself to find where that feeling lives. You have the power to be grounded, and the power to be present, and the power to be head-centered. You have the power to issue a vibration of your choice, and you have the power to reach out to someone who can help or could help you. You have the power to open you to receive from non-physical beings and groups everything that comes from them. You have the power to absorb the heat of your sun. You have the power to connect with the core of Mother Earth. You have the power to observe and learn. You have the power to appreciate. You have the power to rest when you need it, to close your eyes and breathe deeply, and know that you are loved. You are awakened to the truth that you are the source energy in the flesh, and you have the power to maintain that perspective in any time. You have the power to act and the power to speak words, and you can decide with that discernment that you have. You have the freedom to follow your feelings, and that is also a power. You have the power to tune into your guides, your higher self, your soul, and of course, Source, which always dwells within you and always invites you to reach your power and promote your power to yourself. Now, you don't have to be afraid of any of those powers, and you can choose with power the use in next moment of your experience. And that is a power too. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.